Welcome back, horror community. My name is Thomas. I'm 74 now. I worked as a 911 operator for 10 years. None of my family still know the real reason I quit back then. At 911, it was usually routine stuff. Accidents, domestic fights, shootings, all kinds of emergencies. Most people wouldn't call that routine because of the stress, the adrenaline, all that. But honestly, over time you get used to it, even if at first it's pretty scary. Anyway, there was one call that stuck with me so clearly. It feels like it happened yesterday, even though it's been years. After that night, I switched to day shifts, and eventually I quit for good. It was a night shift. Around 2 a.m., a few calls in a row. Nothing unusual. And then the line clicked, and a woman's voice came through my headset. Old habit. I say, the line clicked. That's just operator jargon. Back in the 70s and 80s with analog phone systems, you'd often hear that sharp click in the headset when a call connected. Relay engaging, line picked up. On digital lines, you don't get that anymore, but back then it was normal. Anyway, a woman was calling. I gave the usual 911. What's your emergency? She said her name was Sarah and gave me her address. I entered it into the system like we're trained to, then listened. She sounded scared. She said she'd heard strange noises in the basement. Footsteps, maybe, or like something heavy being dragged across the floor. My first thought was burglars, maybe even raccoons. The protocol was standard. I logged the call, dispatched the nearest unit, and kept my voice calm. Ma'am, the police are on their way. Stay on the line if you feel unsafe. Sarah hung up. I didn't think much of it at the time. Calls like that, we got a dozen a night. 5 minutes later, I figured I'd forget about it completely. About 15 minutes later, a report came in from Officer Miller. Basement empty. No signs of forced entry. I marked the call as false alarm and went back to work. An hour later, another call came in. I recognized her right away. Same woman. She gave her name and address again, but her voice sounded even more terrified this time. "It's back," she whispered, trembling. "Who's back, Sarah?" I asked, not really understanding. Then I reminded her the police had already been to her house and found nothing. "I don't know what it is, but someone's here. Something's happening in the house. Please, you have to help me." She sounded like she was 1 second away from breaking into full-on hysteria. I tried to keep control of the situation the way we're trained. To think steady, stay cool under pressure. "Sarah, did you see anyone? Any sign of a break-in?" "No." But there was this crash. The dishes in the kitchen, like someone swept them off the table. It was so loud I jumped. My heart almost stopped. I'm alone in this house, do you understand? There's no one else here. It's like it came up from the basement. I logged the call automatically, but her panic was contagious. The first time she'd sounded shaken, but now there was certainty in her voice, as if she had no doubt someone was in the house. The strange part was, none of this matched the police report. "Sarah, the police already checked your house and didn't find anything suspicious. Maybe a cat jumped on the table and knocked the dishes over. Or maybe it just seemed that way." "I don't have a cat, and it couldn't have seemed that way because there are shards of dishes all over the floor. I saw them with my own eyes." I went quiet. After that, there was no point in throwing out guesses. I stuck to protocol and opened a repeat call, even though I knew Miller would come up empty again. If you open a repeat call, that's already more serious. When someone calls a second time, we weren't allowed to write it off as imagination. By protocol, everything has to be done all over again. First, we open a new case card, even if the first call was logged as false. A repeat call from the same number is already a red flag. The problem didn't go away. It came back. Second, we always link the new call to the previous one. In the system, it's obvious. Same address, same caller. Third, we mark it clearly. Repeat call, situation has worsened. That's an important phrase, and police take it more seriously. And fourth, we log every new detail. If the first time it was just noises, and the second time there's a crash or objects moving, that gives the police more reason to respond. So even if in my head I chalked it up to something ordinary, cats, kids running around the kitchen, or just imagined it, on paper, we didn't even have computers in our city back then, it looked like a case that needed a serious check. Ma'am, the police are already on their way. Don't hang up. I'll stay with you on the line until they arrive. She was silent for a few seconds, then started crying. I'm here alone, completely alone. The way she said it made me glance at her address on the screen, like it could somehow change. For an operator, those were just words, but in her voice there was real despair. Don't hang up, I told her. Just keep talking to me. She was breathing hard, like she was holding back tears. And then she whispered, It's close. I can feel it. Ma'am, go upstairs and lock yourself in the bathroom. In the headset, I heard the quick footsteps going up the stairs, down the hall, and then a door shut. I'm in, Sarah said, breathing hard. I noted in the card, Caller has taken shelter. Sarah, do you hear me? Tell me what's happening. Quiet. Her whisper was barely audible, too quiet. Then her breathing suddenly sped up. I hear footsteps on the stairs. It's coming up. Stopped. More steps. It's in the hallway now. It knows I'm here. I couldn't hear a thing, only her ragged breathing. But I felt her fear. The doorknob is turning. Her voice cracked into a high, hysterical pitch. Instinctively, I clenched my pencil so hard it snapped in two. Don't go near the door, I barked sharper than I meant to, and right then, her heavy breathing stopped. Absolute silence. Suddenly, her voice changed. It's, fine, she said calmly, almost casually. I tensed immediately. Sarah, are you sure? Stay on the line until the unit arrives. No, really, she cut me off. You don't need to come anymore. I'm sorry for bothering you. And she hung up. I sat staring at the open case card on the screen. By protocol, I couldn't just close it, so I logged the call and sent a repeat request to the police. But inside, I was shaken. In 10 years, I'd heard dozens of terrified voices, and only this time did someone switch so suddenly, like a switch had been flipped. About 10 minutes later, Officer Miller checked in. His voice was irritated. So, what was that? Another false alarm. Nobody's there. He said it like he was blaming me. What do you mean, nobody? Nobody as in no burglars, or nobody as in no one at all? I asked. Nobody as in no one. Basement empty. First floor empty. Broken dishes on the kitchen floor. We went upstairs. Bathroom door wide open. Woman's gone. Whole second floor empty. House completely empty. Over and out. I left the dispatch center in the morning. For a while, I kept asking myself, what was that? A ghost? A maniac? A breakdown on her part? I don't know. And honestly, I don't even try to find the answer anymore. In our work, everything fits into neat categories. Robbery, fire, traffic accident. Everything goes into tidy protocols. But sometimes things happen that don't fit into any box. We like to think we have life under control, but one call is enough to remind you. There is no control, only the illusion of it. Like I said at the beginning, soon after that case I switched to day shifts, and a few months later I quit for good. That date stayed with me forever. It happened on October 12, 1984. My name is Anna Carter, and in the mid-'80s I worked as a 911 operator in a small town in Pennsylvania. The shifts were tough, especially the night ones. You had to fight sleep and stay razor-focused. Night shift meant 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. That night was quiet, except for the steady clicking of typewriter keys from a coworker 2 desks away. I was just about to make notes on the previous call when a line lit up. I picked up and heard sobs. The voice was a child's, frightened. "Help. My dad is on the floor. He's not breathing." I tried to keep my voice steady, the way they trained us. I introduced myself, asked the standard questions. The girl gave me her address and, after a pause, added, "My name is Emma Johnson. I'm 7 years old." I asked her to stay on the line and repeat the address. She said it confidently, without hesitation. She clearly knew it by heart. I passed the info to the duty officer, logged the call, and tried to keep my tone calm. "Emma, sweetie, the nearest patrol is already on the way. Where are you right now?" "In the living room, next to my dad." She sobbed. He's looking at me, but his eyes don't move. The words were too clear for a child her age. I heard her dragging something across the floor, probably pulling the phone closer. Back then, it was rotary phones with those long cords. I tried to distract her, asked about her mom. "Emma, where's your mom? Can you call her to the phone?" The line went silent for a second, just her shaky breathing. Then a whisper, soft and scared. "Mom's asleep, in the big bedroom upstairs." "Wake her up, honey. Tell her she needs to come to the phone." "But I can't wake her. She's sleeping too hard and there's blood everywhere." I radioed the patrol, reported 2 possible deaths, and urged them to hurry. "Emma, is there anyone else in the house besides you and your parents?" Emma stayed silent. I was about to repeat the question when she finally said, quietly, "I don't want to be here alone. You'll stay with me, right?" "Of course, I'll stay with you, Emma. Don't be afraid, sweetie." Her voice wasn't panicked. If anything, it was too calm, like she had already accepted what she was seeing. Maybe she didn't fully grasp what death meant, and to her it felt like deep sleep. Dad just fell asleep and won't wake up. Or maybe her mind, to protect itself, had shut down. And she was talking about this nightmare as if it were ordinary. Emotions lag behind, or don't come at all. It's a kind of defense mechanism, you see. I promised her I wouldn't hang up. "Are you already coming?" she asked. "Yes, the police are almost there." "Hold on, Emma." "Just don't hang up. Please, I'm so scared to be alone." "I'm not going anywhere, Emma," I said, my voice sounding firmer than I felt. "I'll stay with you until the officers arrive, I promise." "This is Officer Jones." "Dispatch, we're pulling up." I tried to keep her talking so she wouldn't go silent. When a child stops talking, it's always worse. It means either shock or something's happening right then. "Emma, talk to me. What's around you? What do you see?" "Nothing's happening. Dad's on the floor. I'm right next to him. Are you coming soon?" "Sweetheart, the police are right outside your house." "This is Officer Jones." "Dispatch, we're inside now." The officers said they had entered the house. I switched to speaker so I could hear both lines at once. In my headset, boots on the floorboards, short commands, the creak of wood, and, at the same time, a thin child's voice on the other line. "Are you here yet?" asked Emma. "Yes, Emma, the police are in the house. They'll find you soon," I told her. I expected to hear them call out to her any second. Instead, the officer reported the opposite. Living room empty, bloodstain on the floor. Phone lying next to it. No one here. Heading upstairs. In the phone, the girl whispered, "I'm sitting right next to Dad. Why can't they see me?" I froze. The words were said so simply, without emotion, it chilled me. I checked the address again. It matched. The radio crackled again. "Dispatch, come in. House is empty. First floor clear, second floor clear. Looks like nobody's lived here for years." I stared at the blinking line indicator, but Emma was still breathing in the phone. And then the connection cut off, sharp and sudden. Just a short burst of static, and silence wrapped around me like a blanket. About 10 minutes later, the officer came back on. "Anna, we ran the address. House is abandoned. 3 years ago there was a murder here. Michael Johnson, his wife Elena Johnson, and their daughter Emma Johnson, 7 years old, all killed." I sat frozen, staring at a blank case card on the screen. I don't remember how I closed that call. My hands moved on autopilot, logged the report, checked, forwarded to police. But in my head, there was only that ringing silence, the same one that followed when the line cut off. I stayed in the service for a few more years, but after that night shifts became torture. Every time a child's voice came through, my chest tightened with dread. Too often, I thought I heard Emma in their words. I left the job in '89. Sometimes, even now, I feel like if I pick up the phone at night, I'll hear that little girl again. Hope you enjoyed these true stories. Subscribe so you don't miss the next ones. And remember, the only ones who never fear are those without imagination.